Dear students and my teacher friends, Namaskar. I welcome you to the presentation lecture on the Diencephalon, Hypothalamus and Epithalamus. Now here on the screen we are looking at the figure Diencephalon anterior view we are looking at, and in the figure in the brain, as you can see in the blue color, Diencephalon is shown, and they are zoom up this Diencephalon. So see the part of Diencephalon, we know thalamus. We have already discussed about the thalamus. So in this lecture we are discussing about the hypothalamus and epithalamus. So here you see the location of hypothalamus, then the epithalamus, then you look at the subthalamus, then the brainstem is shown, then the mammillary bodies. Okay, then in this figure also, first you see the position of thalamus, then the epithalamus is shown, third ventricle they are showing, and the pineal gland is also visible. Okay, and in this figure, okay, so now we are discussing hypothalamus. See the numbering that I have given in this lecture is is with the continuation of our previous lecture. Generally we start with the first number, but here we are starting with the 13 number. Okay, so now hypothalamus, once again, this one is the diencephalon, mid sagittal section they are showing structure of the diencephalon, and here this is the hypothalamus. Okay, this dark blue area, so this is the hypothalamus they are showing. So okay, see hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is so named. Why the name hypothalamus is used? Why the name for this brain part? For this brain part, why the name hypothalamus is used? So the reason is, it is because the position of hypothalamus. Hypo means below. Okay, and so below the thalamus, hypothalamus is present. For example, this one is the thalamus, and we know the shape of thalamus is the egg shape. Okay, so below the thalamus, hypothalamus is present. That's why the name hypothalamus is given to this part of the brain. Okay, now hypothalamus, what hypothalamus is doing, hypothalamus is capping the brain stem. So on the top of the brain stem here, with the dark brownish yellow color, they are showing the brain stem, and here you see with the blue color the hypothalamus is present. So what this hypothalamus is doing, it is capping the brainstem. It is present on the top of the brainstem. This hypothalamus is okay, and hypothalamus is forming inferior lateral walls of third ventricle. Okay, inferior, yani that means the beneath one, and the lateral means the side walls of the third ventricle. So hypothalamus is forming inferior lateral walls of third ventricle. Okay, now the 14th point we are discussing. 14 means second point, excuse me. Now see, in this point, hypothalamus merge with midbrain. Okay, and we know, for example, over here you can see that this is the brain stem they are showing. Okay, and the brain stem has three region. One is midbrain, second one is the bone, and the third one is the medulla oblongata. Okay, so midbrain is the is included in brainstem. So this hypothalamus inferiorly merges with the midbrain. And where exactly in our brain hypothalamus is located? So hypothalamus extends from optic chiasma to posterior margin of mammillary bodies. Now, what is optic chiasma? So, optic chiasma is a point where two optic nerves are crossing over. Okay, so in the figure here you see this one, optic chiasma. Okay, and here mammillary body. They are showing this one is the mammillary body. So where where hypothalamus is present, so from optic chiasma, from this part to up to the posterior margin of mammillary body. So this entire part, this entire region of the brain is known as hypothalamus. Okay, so this is regarding the location of hypothalamus. Okay, now the way the thalamus was having nuclei, thalamus is form of nuclei. Same way, hypothalamus also contain many functionally important nuclei in its structure. Okay, so here this figure explains everything regarding the hypothalamus. So you go through this figure and try to remember all the names which are mentioned in the figure. Okay, and here on left hand side the key is given red color. Red color is used for the mammillary region of hypothalamus. Blue color is used for tubular region of hypothalamus. Green color is used for supraoptic region of hypothalamus, and the purple color is used for preoptic region of hypothalamus. And this so this is the key, color key, okay, for various region of hypothalamus. And in this region the nucleus are present. So on the right hand side, as you can see, the name of the nucleus are written. For example, first one is the paraventricular nucleus, then the lateral preoptic nucleus, medial preoptic nucleus, anterior hypothalamic nucleus, suprachiasmatic nucleus, supraoptic nucleus. Then this side on left hand side, dorsomedial nucleus, posterior hypothalamic nucleus, ventromedial nucleus, mammillary body. Okay, so all the nucleus of hypothalamus are shown over here. Okay, now mammillary body. Okay, what is mammillary body? So here, this one, this is okay, this is the mammillary body they are showing. So now we are discussing about the mammillary body. See, mammillary body means little like a little breast. Okay, mammillary little breast. Okay, now mammillary body are paired. One pair means two, so they are paired pea-like. Their size is like a pea. Mammillary body are paired pea-like nuclei, and this nuclei, as we are seeing in the figure, are bulging ventrally from the hypothalamus. Okay, and what is the role this mammillary bodies are playing? So they are the relay stations. They are acting as a relay station in the olfactory pathway, and olfaction something related with the smell. Okay, so this is regarding the mammillary body. Now in between the optic chiasm, for example, this is the optic chiasm, and here this is the mammillary body. So between the optic chiasm and mammillary body, this infundibulum infundibulum is present. Okay, so here this one is the pituitary gland, this one is the hypothalamus. So between the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, infundibulum is present. So what is infundibulum? See, between the optic chiasm and mammillary body, infundibulum, also known as a stalk, or a stalk, also known as infundibulum, also known as stalk, is present. So the position or the location of infundibulum between the optic chiasm and mammillary body. Okay, and it is having hypothalamic tissue, and this infundibulum is connecting pituitary gland to the base of hypothalamus. Okay, so this is regarding the infundibulum. Now here in this figure also, okay, right hand side, the main hypothalamic nuclei. Okay, so all the nuclei, entire hypothalamus is shown, and all the nucleus names are written. Okay, so you need to remember all the names of the nucleus of hypothalamus. Now we are discussing the function of the hypothalamus. So even though hypothalamus is small in size, hypothalamus is the main controlling center of our visceral organ. Okay, visceral means the body organs are under the activity of body organ are under the control of hypothalamus. And hypothalamus is very important for overall body homeostasis. Now the homeostasis means the homeostasis, that means the regulation of temperature, water, mineral ions, then the blood pH. Okay, so the balancing of body, that is known as homeostasis. So for this maintenance of homeostasis, hypothalamus is playing a very important role. Now few tissue in our body, they are not under the control of hypothalamus. So few tissue in the body escape the influence from the hypothalamus. Even though then also hypothalamus is very useful and very important role it is playing. So which are this role of hypothalamus, which are the function? One is control the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so see, hypothalamus is controlling the autonomic nervous system. See here, the entire detail is given. So if you are interested, you can go through this. Okay, how hypothalamus is regulating ANS. But keeping in mind the depth of your syllabus, I am not discussing this thing. Okay, but only the at least the title we are remembering for the function of hypothalamus. Then hypothalamus initiate physical response to our emotion. Okay, so the bodily response for our feelings. Okay, for that hypothalamus is responsible. Then hypothalamus also regulate our body temperature. Then hypothalamus regulate the food intake. Then hypothalamus regulate water balance and thirst. Okay. Now one more figure I would like to show you. For example, over here, see the hypothalamus, the exact location of hypothalamus in the rectangle box, and they have zoomed this rectangle box. So this is the hypothalamus and the nucleus and the region. Okay, so all the nucleus. So here you can see See, at least the names of the nucleus, you should remember the names of the nucleus, okay? and and this as far as this function, remembering this function are concerned, so I leave it up to you. So if you want, you can prepare. So it is up to you, okay? But at least the names you should prepare. Okay. Then some additional information regarding the hypothalamus. So what role this the size, okay, and the role function. And here also in this, the with the green color, nucleus of hypothalamus are shown, okay, paraventricular, dorsomedial, and the suprachiasmatic nucleus, body clock. And between the hypothalamus and this is the pituitary gland. So in between the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, the pituitary stalk or infundibulum is present. So this is the pituitary stalk they are showing, okay. Now we are discussing the remaining function of the hypothalamus, okay. Let me scroll so that we can reach to the point. Okay. Hypothalamus regulate sleep wake cycle, okay. Then hypothalamus control endocrine system function. We know about that the hypothalamus producing and secreting various releasing hormone, and various negative, and hypothalamus is also associated with many regulatory mechanism, the positive and negative feedback mechanism, in that the hypothalamus is involved. Now with this we have completed the discussion regarding the hypothalamus. Now we are discussing the epithalamus, okay. So in the figure, I would like to show you the epithalamus. One minute. For example, in this figure, you see the epithalamus, okay. Here we have already seen this figure, okay. Okay. See the pineal gland, okay. So pineal gland was part of epithalamus. Then here also in this figure, pineal gland, okay. Here also pineal gland in this figure. Here you see, okay, epithalamus, pineal gland, habenula, they are showing. And in this figure, okay, epithalamus. So epithalamus, posterior commissure, and pineal gland. And this side, third ventricle. So you see the third ventricle, this one, this part, third ventricle. Okay, so now we are discussing about the epithalamus. See, epithalamus, the most dorsal portion of the diencephalon. So in the diencephalon, it is present on the top. Okay, epithalamus forms the roof of the third ventricle. Okay, it is making the roof of or the top wall of third ventricle is made up by epithalamus. Then where exactly it is located, the location of epithalamus? So extending from its posterior border and visible externally is pineal gland. Okay, so the pineal gland is visible in epithalamus, and where this pineal gland is present, so from the posterior border of epithalamus and externally the pineal gland is visible. And pineal, why the name to this gland pineal is given? Because pineal means like a shape like a pine cone. Okay, the pine tree's cone, the cone shape, pineal gland. Now, pineal gland, the role of the pineal gland, the function of the pineal gland, we know secrete hormone known as melatonin, and this melatonin is responsible for it is inducing the sleep. Okay, so melatonin, a sleep inducing signal is produced by melatonin, act as an antioxidant, this melatonin hormone. Then along with the hypothalamic nuclei, melatonin helps regulate the sleep wake cycle. And the last point, the posterior commissure. Okay, so first let's look at the posterior commissure. So I'm zooming this. So here, this one is the posterior commissure, and this part is the pine cone shaped pineal gland. Okay, so the posterior commissure forms the caudal. Caudal means tail border or the caudal border of epithalamus. Okay. So in epithalamus, two things we are remembering. One is pineal gland, and second one is the posterior commissure. Okay. So with this, we have completed our discussion on hypothalamus and epithalamus. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation lecture, and I also hope that this presentation lecture will be helpful in your exam preparation and also in your studies. My name is Manish Kosti sir. I am from Ahmedabad, India. Bye bye. Namaste.